Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to demonstrate Positive Pay in Dynamics 365 Business Central. Actually, Positive Pay started from Dynamics NAV 2016. It was added to NAV 2016, and you can use the data exchange definition to define the export file for Positive Pay. But if you are using a Dynamics NAV version which is earlier, then you have to go through a developer, ask the developer to code the export file as the specification required by the banks. So it's a very time-consuming process for you to test with the bank and to confirm all the lines, all the header, footer, and the lines, and the position of each fields follow the bank specification. So in Dynamics NAV 2016, and the data exchange definition was added. So you can just define the data exchange definition according to the bank specification. And then you can export the files with those XML mapping. So in this video, I would like to show you how the Positive Pay works in Business Central. Actually, it's a very automated process. So what you have to do first, you can search for the data exchange definition. And when you get there, you will see there's actually two definition file has already been provided for Positive Pay. So you can use them as a template. Okay, data exchange definition, and you go to your data exchange definition. So the out-of-box template provided for Positive Pay has one for Bank of America and another one for the Citibank. So you have these two templates you can use. So you can select the one which is more close to the bank specification required for your bank. Yeah, so I think I forgot to explain what is Positive Pay, because for those of you who are new to Positive Pay, you don't even understand what is the Positive Pay service. So if you Google for Positive Pay service, then you can see this is an automated cash management service to protect you from the check fraud. And the banks use Positive Pay to match the checks company issues with those it presents for payment. So actually, it's a protection for the fraud of the banks. If you look at the RBC, for RBC Royal Bank of Canada, they provide the check fraud. They provide the check fraud protection. And they have the payee match, or you can use the Positive Pay or reverse Positive Pay products from them. And they have specific like payee match files for Positive Pay. So you have to make sure your files, the export file, match those specification. And you can see they have like different header, like different code you put in the header for the testing and production environment. And also for the record in different section. So in your export file, then you have the header section. You have to make sure each columns meet those criteria. And you have the batch header, you have the transaction record. The transaction record section has to meet these parameters requested here. And you have the check remittance data. So it starts with the R, and you know that's check remittance and the trailer record. So there's a lot of details you have to make sure to meet when you do the export file. So you have to send those export file to the bank, and bank just upload the files into their system, and then they will generate the checks from the data you uploaded to the bank. And those checks are for fraud protection, because those are real checks, like generated from the data you exported from your system for the check payment. And so in order to set them up in Business Central, like you can use these two templates. So for example, if you found none of these are close, if you want to set up for RBC positive pay, but you found none of those are close to the RBC requirement, so in that case, you can just export. So you can export this data exchange definition. But if you think this one, the Bank of America one is closer to the RBC, but you still have to change. You can export this one and open this, and so you can make changes from this XML file. Then you can save this XML file. So for example, so let's say I only need to change one field like this. So like the column name, like the column 8, I only want to change it from length 16 to 20. Let's say that's I need to change this from 16 to 20. Okay, so first you have to save this file to somewhere, then you can make the change from there. So let's say, oh, I already have something there. Okay, so let's just say this one I'm gonna make it to RBC because I will use it as an example, like for RBC. So you export the file, then you open it, then you can make the changes from there. You cannot make the changes from browser for sure. So you have to open it as, for example, I open as a notepad, and I just want to change one field, and I want to rename it. Instead of like Bank of America, I want to rename it to RBC, and RBC positive pay. So you can make the changes from that XML file. Then after you made the change, then you can, so let's say that's the change, and also I may want to, you can change as many places as you want to meet the bank specification. For example, in this example, I just want to change this from 16 to 20, and make the change of the name of this XML file, and then I can save this change. So the change is saved, and then I can go to my Business Central again, and I can export. After I export it and make the change, I can import it. So I go to import data exchange definition, and I choose my file. So this RBC, let's say that's the positive pay data exchange definition I want to create. Then you can see this new one has been created. Okay, so if you don't want to make the change from the XML file, you can just make change from the original. You can copy this. You can copy this template and make the change from there. Okay, so you can find it, like each column, you can make the change of the length, you can add a column, you can do the data mapping. So similar to the data exchange definition for the EFT. So these are all using the data exchange definition. And so you can do the data mapping from there. Yeah, so that's how you edit and create a XML file for your data exchange definition. So after you did this, you may want to go to your bank import export to change to create a profile for this RBC positive pay. So you go to your bank export import setup. From there, so I have something created here saying positive pay. I'm gonna rename it to RBC positive pay, and so this is the RBC positive pay. I want to rename this, and make sure in the direction. So for the direction, you have these 4 options: export, import, export positive pay, export EFT. Make sure in the direction you select export positive pay. And then after you select that, this processing code unit will be automatically populated with the correct code unit associated to positive pay. Okay, so then you do not need to fill in anything for the processing code unit name. It will populate after you tab off that record. And also for this data exchange definition, because we just created a new one for RBC, I'm gonna change this to the RBC positive pay, the new data exchange definition I just created. Okay, so that's for the bank export import setup. After you set this up, then you can go to your bank account. So I have a bank account I set up for RBC in my Business Central. So I can use that bank account, and under the transfer fast tab of the bank account, so the last one here, then so you can keep everything you set up for the EFT. You do not need to change them. You can keep them. But for this positive pay export format, then you have to select the one like we just created from the bank import and export. That's from the bank import export. You just select that one. Okay. So then after you select that one, we're good. So this is very simple setup. We're good to go. And in order to run it, you still stay on your bank account card, and you go to process, and then you go to positive pay export. And from here, you can put in a last upload date. Let's say my last upload date is 2019. Okay, so if I change it to 2019, January the 1st, 2019, I have a bunch of positive pay export checks I can export. So I have a bunch of files I can export. And I can just go ahead and say export. And you see it's doing its stuff. And then you will have a file created. So you will have an export file created. If you already done that, it will go to the same folder. Let's see if it goes to the download folder. No, it didn't. So it didn't create it. What we can do, because the first time, because already exported one, and then the previous last upload date was I was using some date in 2020. So that's why you don't see another file generated. But actually, no, this is not the file generated. So let's see. Yeah, this is my previous file generated from the positive pay. Because I was using the date 2020. I was using today's date. No, January. Yeah, I was using today's date. Then it generated these ones. So this is the export file generated previously, and then I was using a date before that to generate. So it didn't generate another file. But for you, you can go into your navigate, and then you go to bank account, then you go to your positive pay entries, then you will see this export. You will see two exports there because I did one export earlier today. So that's why it didn't create another file for you. So this one is the earlier one I did, but I was using the date of today's date. And then this one, the last load date, I was using January the 1st, 2019. So it didn't generate it didn't generate that txt file. But if you go to re-export positive pay to file, then you can save and open. So you can see all the ones like these are the checks included for all these for this batch. So actually you can re-export, then you see this, the total matches what I have here. The check amount plus the void amount is $239,115.13, which is this amount. So, and also if for example, if the previous file didn't generate, you can always re-export a positive pay file. So click on this, then this will be for that $987.50. So that's this amount. Okay, and the reason you are seeing this amount, that's the total. So that's include the check amount and the void amount. The total of that is 3,975. But it will export all the checks, no matter if it's posted or it's voided. It will export all the checks you did. Okay, so if the bank provides you a confirmation number after you upload this export file to the bank, then you can enter that confirmation number as a reference in here from this positive pay entries. For example, test 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if that's the confirmation number, you can enter it there. And so it's pretty simple. Just like you have to set up your data exchange definition for the positive pay export, and then you have to do the bank import export setup to enter that format, so which is associated to the export. And then you go to your bank account to select that positive pay export format. And then you can just process the positive pay from the bank account card and just give it a last upload date. So you give it a last upload date, and then you can generate the positive export details from here and generate the export file, which is the TXT format. And then if you want to enter your confirmation from the bank, you go to your navigate, you go to your bank account, you go to your positive pay entries to enter the confirmation number. Or if the previous export didn't create a TXT file, you can always go to the positive pay entries to re-export the positive pay to file, to regenerate the export file. Okay, so I think that's everything I want to share in this video. Hope all the information here helps. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. I hope to see you guys again next time.